I was holding my newborn son in my arms when the perfect day turned into a nightmare. In less than 10 minutes, our quiet family barbecue was smeared into a gang gathering. I was accused of having a weapon, and a restraining order almost turned me into a criminal in my own backyard. All because one neighbor, the queen of the cul-de-sac, decided we didn't belong. It started so simple. We had just brought our son home from the hospital, a tiny little thing not even a week old, and my wife and I wanted to celebrate with family. Nothing wild. 15 relatives, a grill, some lemonade cornhole in the yard, mellow R&B humming from a speaker. I was overwhelmed with joy, standing there cradling this fragile new life, soaking in the laughter, the smell of barbecue, the sunlight. For the first time in forever, life felt perfect. And then that voice cut through the air like broken glass. "I hope that little thing you're holding isn't as ghetto as the rest of you." I froze. Everyone froze. Standing on the other side of the chain-link fence was a woman we'd only ever seen peeking through blinds. White shirt, bright pink shorts, hair sprayed into a helmet that didn't move an inch, iPhone to her ear like a weapon. Her face twisted with disgust. She looked right at me, at my son, and spit out poison. At first, I couldn't even process it. Did I really hear that in 2023? But then she doubled down, her voice shrill. "I'm on the phone with 911 right now, reporting a gang gathering drugs-threatening behavior. They'll be here any minute to arrest all of you and get you out of my neighborhood." My stomach dropped. A gang. We were grilling hot dogs. My cousins were tossing beanbags. The loudest noise was my uncle laughing at his own fishing story. Yet she paced the fence line, hissing into her phone, inventing lies on the spot. Yes, they're all urban. The music is deafening. I see them passing things, I think it's drugs. My wife didn't flinch. She handed our baby to her mom, whispered for her to get inside, then looked me straight in the eye and mouthed, "Record everything." So we did. Phones out, cameras rolling, our voices trembling as we tried to reason with her. "Ma'am, we're celebrating my son's birth. No drugs, no gang, no threats. Just food and family." She sneered, turning her back to us and telling her imaginary story louder for the dispatcher. The joy drained out of the yard. The banner that said "Welcome Home" hung limp in the silence. Cornhole bags sat abandoned in the grass. We all just stood there waiting for sirens. When they finally came, the dread was worse than anything. 2 cruisers, 4 white officers. One had his hand already resting on his gun. They didn't look like peacekeepers. They looked like hunters. My father and father-in-law walked forward calmly. Hands visible, voices steady. They explained we were celebrating a baby, not running a drug house. The senior officer, stern haircut, stony face, recited Karen's story like it was gospel. Loud music, drugs, threats. He scanned the yard like he was searching for contraband. My jaw dropped when he said she claimed I lunged at her. Lunge, I was holding my infant. But the way he looked at me, I could feel he already believed her. That was the moment I felt powerless. My heart hammered my mind, screaming, "What if they decide to arrest me right here? What if I never see my son grow up?" I even caught myself wondering if I'd made a mistake buying this house. Did I fail my family by moving us here? I almost gave in to despair, almost let the weight of injustice crush me. But then I felt my wife's cold hand slip into mine. "It's not your fault," she whispered. "Don't let them twist this. Be calm, be smart. You're a father, not a threat." Her words cut through my spiral. She was right. I couldn't afford to break. I had to fight with evidence, not anger. Just when it seemed the officers were ready to side with her, a voice came from another yard. Mark, the neighbor. 2 houses down. White guy, gardening gloves still on his hands. I saw the whole thing, he called out. She started screaming racist garbage at them. They weren't doing anything, just having a barbecue. Music wasn't even loud. She said she'd make up a story and call the cops. My knees almost buckled with relief. A neutral witness, finally. The younger officer glanced at him, clearly connecting the dots. But Stern wasn't budging. Karen, desperate, added fuel. I saw a gun. One of them tucked it in his waistband. A gun. That word hit like a bomb. My younger cousin went pale. My brother-in-law, built like a linebacker, shouted in disgust. I'm in basketball shorts, where the hell would I hide a gun? But the damage was done. Stern barked orders. Demanded every man in my family line up to be patted down. In our own backyard. One by one, my dad, my uncle, my cousins, my father-in-law, my brother-in-law, me all searched like criminals. They found nothing. Not a pocket knife, not even a set of keys. When they got to my 16-year-old cousin, his arms were trembling, eyes wide with fear. My aunt was crying silently. And still, Stern glared at us like we were dangerous. That humiliation burned deeper than anything. I could feel my father's eyes on me. He'd served this country, built a life with dignity, and now he was forced to raise his arms in his son's backyard like a suspect. But then I realized we had all of this on video. Every lie, every pat-down, every slur. They couldn't erase the truth if we refused to hide it. So when Stern tried to wrap it up with a warning for us to keep the noise down, I looked him dead in the eye. "Officer, I want your name and badge number." Cameras rolled as he spat it out through clenched teeth. That was the first moment the balance shifted. We filed complaints with Internal Affairs. We emailed the HOA board with the videos CCing every member. I thought maybe that would be the end. But Karen wasn't finished. A day later, a knock at my door brought a restraining order. Filed by her. Full of lies that I'd stalked her, threatened to kill her, made her live in fear. A judge signed it. Suddenly, it was illegal for me to stand in my own yard because her house was 20 feet away. I stared at that paper, my blood boiling. How could one woman twist the system so completely? For 10 days, I lived like a prisoner. Couldn't mow the lawn, couldn't play with my baby in the sun. She would stand outside in her yard, smug, watering flowers, waiting for me to slip up. She even posted in the neighborhood Facebook group, spinning stories about new elements ruining the community. Some neighbors whispered, others glared. It was psychological torture. I almost lost hope. Almost. But my wife reminded me we weren't alone. We had Mark, we had video, we had the truth, and we had a lawyer willing to fight. Court day came. She showed up in pearls and a gray suit, weeping on cue, painting herself as a fragile grandmother terrorized by the big scary black man next door. I sat still, fists clenched under the table, letting my lawyer do the work. He played the clip's soft R&B me standing 30 feet away holding my son. He asked why her every weekend parties had no dates. He called Mark to the stand. Mark told the judge exactly what he saw and heard her racist rant, her threat to fabricate a 911 call, her lies about lunges and guns. Piece by piece, her story collapsed. The judge's face said it all. He dismissed the restraining order on the spot, ordered her to pay our legal fees, and referred her to the DA for perjury and filing a false police report. In that instant, the empire she'd built on lies crumbled. The power she'd held over us evaporated. She walked out of that courtroom, pale eyes down, no smugness left. For the first time, she was the one afraid. And that's where it ended, not with a party, not with a toast, but with her downfall in front of the very system she thought she controlled. Lesson learned. Hate might roar loud, but the truth, if you hold on tight enough, will always roar louder.